All right, we are live. Now I just need to hit go live on Instagram. One moment. Okay, go live. Perfect. All right, Erin, I'm so glad we could do this today. So, everyone that's watching, this is Erin Mitchell, and she is the producer of a movie called Outriding the Devil. And we wanted to come on and talk about the film, but also talk about her journey as a creator in relationship to this. And so stick around if you're curious about anything that I just said, or if you're staring at us and you're thinking, oh, there's something here. I want to know what it is. And then Aaron, before I've never done an introduction like this before, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna introduce you with a question, which is not normal because I'm not even going to ask you a question about yourself in the in the typical sense. But I just before we got on here, I checked my email to see if you got the link, and I noticed that you have this quote in your email. I'm going to read it out loud. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning. That is at one with your life's desire. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Holding nothing back, learn to find ease in risk, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. John O'Donohue. I'm sure you must love that quote because it's in your email, auto, no, like in there in every email. So respond to that and let's start there. And you can, I mean, of course, lead it into your film if you want to or anything about you, but what does it stir?
Yeah. It first of all, if you do an auto signature with a quote, be prepared to have that quote work you until it completely works you. And I've had that before with quotes that I've put in my signature. This one has been on there the longest of any, um, because I'm still being worked by it, and I'm still being called to embody that fully,
Mhm.
taking risk, finding ease in risk, and embracing the adventure of life, which is to say that looks different for everybody. um, for me, it's following it's following something inside of me that on paper doesn't have necessarily logical reasoning behind it, or and it doesn't have those bumpers that you get in a bowling alley. You know, there are no bumpers, there are gutters. There are major gutters. And so, yeah, so that quote, it's actually a line in a longer poem by John O'Donohue. And so yeah, that I can't remove that quote yet because I don't feel like it's used me up or something, or I've used it up.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
How does it okay, tell us about the film and how does that quote and how it's worked you relate to this film and your journey as a producer?
Yeah, so, every single bit of it, because, I do I I have a I have a background a little bit in producing. I've produced many legacy documentaries for families, so personal documentaries for families, as keepsakes to be able to maintain, oral history and family stories within the family unit. And I had that business 10 or so years ago, and probably did over 30 documentaries that way. This is my first full feature documentary that I've produced.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I've done some other cause documentaries, cause films, but they weren't too they were really they had a purpose to them that wasn't just the pure adventure of making a film. there was a goal, maybe legislation we wanted to shift or change or inform in some kind of way. But this one was really born out of um, a story that was so compelling that just had to be told.
Mm,
And it was a story about a woman who is a world champion barrel racer, which is a rodeo sport. It's one of two only sports that women can compete in rodeo. Even though they used to ride bulls, back in the early 1900s, women used to be bull riders, and they as the like 1950s took on and like the post-feminist movement started to happen, there were a lot of men that didn't think that that was appropriate anymore, and they used to ride bareback and everything, and super brave, and so barrel racing was one of the sports that women were allowed to do. So they've continued to be a part of the rodeo through the WPRA, the Women's Pro Rodeo Association. So yeah, this woman in Texas, her name is Angela Ganter, and she just has an incredible story. And the story is so deeply intertwined with America. Whatever America you think America is or isn't, it is truly the heart, like at the epicenter, in my opinion, of what we think America is, and
wow.
what we maybe, you know, need to remember
Mm.
about it.
What how do you want for people to be changed or altered from watching this, those people that watch it?
Um, I think that, when you endeavor to tell somebody else's story, it's incredibly humbling. Um, I I have to let go of wanting any anybody to have a particular response to it,
Wow.
including Angela Ganter. Um,
Wow.
I spoke to her this week and she said, "So I'm not going to see this thing, am I, before the night of the premiere?" And I said, "No. How are you feeling about that?" And she said, "Well, what if I don't like it?" And I said, "That's That's possible." It's like it's a piece of art that somebody else is kind of doing. Like, the presidents, how they get the portraits painted of them. And like that artist is just pouring everything out of their heart. And then, the reveal happens.
Wow, I
And it's like,
never would
what
have
if,
thought about it like that. It's
what if
so
you hate
true.
it? What if you're like, ew, I don't like how my, chin looks, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So there's that with her. And then, like, to answer your question about the broader audience, what I want
Wow.
them to get out of it. I mean, all I can do is try to bring the perspective and vision, and the director bringing his perspective and vision to the ultimate, to the piece, and then let it be free. It has to be free. It has to have its own sovereignty as a piece of work.
Mhm.
And with that, because every person comes to it from a unique background, a unique experience in their own life, and then that work it's relating to that individual uniquely in that way. And so then I don't I'm out of it, right? Like, it
Mhm.
has it's a life of its own.
So would you say this is true that you're doing it just you did this because you were compelled to do it for no reason other than that you were compelled to do it. It was a calling. And so you created it without necessarily an agenda of any kind other than just the agenda to tell the story. Does that sound true?
Yes. That is absolutely
Wow,
correct.
wow, wow. How has that changed you as a human?
Um, it is, again, it's a constant letting go of the planning a little bit, and then letting go of the plan, planning a little bit further, letting go of the plan. So when we started out to tell the story, we thought it was a breast cancer survivor story, sports comeback story about one woman. And in one of in the first interviews in Cheyenne, Wyoming that I did at Cheyenne Frontier Days, it's the largest outdoor rodeo in America, happens every July. And I was there doing interviews with Angela, her daughter Jackie Ganter, and her mom Joe Smith. And Joe said in the interview, "Well, my father was born in 1875," and of course my jaw dropped because that seems like a really long time ago for somebody's father to be born. And of course, that's when the pioneer ranchers were crossing the West. And come to find out that Angela's grandfather, great grandfather, and grandmother settled in Comancheria, Texas, which is now West Texas, in 1850, um, right when Fort Sill was settled and in Texas. So
I have relatives. I
it's
have past relatives that were lived in that area. Maybe they knew each other. That's so
maybe
interesting.
they did. Maybe they did. Yeah. Yeah. And so something else started to bubble up because
Hmm.
when I first heard Angela Ganter's story through the director, Rain Lavelle, he had called to tell me about it because back up a little bit. Um, I had never been to a rodeo and I'd been living in Tucson for several years. And he's like, you should go to the rodeo. You should experience that. It's a part of the West. You have to see it. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to go see bulls and horses and getting ridden like that. A lot of preconceived notions. Didn't really know what to expect. And I went to my first rodeo in Tucson in um, 2022, so only 3 years ago. And I saw the first sport I saw were the children barrel racers. So these little girl barrel racers. And I saw a 7-year-old come out of the gate with her horse, and it was trotting, and then it got a little faster. And this little girl in this teal cowgirl hat with rhinestone belt and whatever shiny little shimmery shirt was holding on to this horse, and this horse was just so had her. And I just tears just started to stream down my face.
Wow.
And yeah, when I think about it, it still makes me cry. And it's funny because I was talking to the set director who's coming to the premiere, and he was like, "Well, how did this all happen?" And I was kind of telling him about the kind of the very seeds, the beginning. And he said, "Oh, those are holy tears. It's like when you're not sad, and when it's not about being sad, it's just holy, what you see or what you witness, and then it touches you." And I really liked him, putting a name to that, because it was really difficult to explain. So when I told the director about that experience, only a few months later, he called me and said, "Hey, I think I have a barrel racer that we could do a story on. Do you want to hear about it?" And so he told me about Angela Yanter's comeback story, and we were off and running.
Wow. What a cool story. I'm so happy to have that background on it. So I'll be at the premiere, which is coming up December 9th. I'm so excited.
Yay.
We got Kiara. You saw those
Oh
little
my
boots,
goodness.
little cowboy boots, clay cowboy boots.
Precious.
So
Precious.
tell people, because I understand from you it's a people's premiere. People are invited to it. If anybody wants to go and meet us there, do it. And how
Yeah.
can they find out more?
Yeah, so basically if you go to the website otdmovie.com, OTD for standing for Outriding the Devil. OTDmovie.com. The documentary is called Outriding the Devil. On that site, there's a link for events, and it has a ticket link there. You can buy tickets at the Virgin, it's the theater at Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas, and it's an enormous theater, you know, and so we need all the cozy we can get. So come if you can. And it's really it's very different, really, what we're doing, the way that we're doing it. The movie industry, is probably you and anyone who tunes in knows, is changing rapidly. Films bomb at the box office, unless they're a Marvel movie. Um, and the culture around movie watching is really shifted, even before COVID. Really, like with streaming, because we're very busy culture. We have things we got going on, so it's like, oh, I'll just watch it when it comes out in streaming, and so to make a movie these days is not the is not the way it used to be. And so we felt like this story came from the rodeo community. And the National Finals Rodeo happens every year in Las Vegas at this time. And so we really wanted to deliver this film to the community that it came from first. And
Oh,
yeah, but it's breaking cultural norms because folks that go to the NFR may not be used to anything like this, So
yeah, cool. All the more reason to go. Let's go.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I love that
it's
you're doing it
exciting.
this way.
Yeah.
What do you need or want? How can we support you right now?
Um, yeah, I think getting buzz around, you can watch the trailer. The trailer is also on the website. It
Share
helps
the
to,
trailer.
yeah, because in YouTube it counts, the number of watches. Um, and that's not the only way you can watch the trailer, but that's like a way that the public can help, because the more watches there, then it kind of, it says to a potential buyer the interest that's there. Um, and that could be a streamer. And it also, we might do it differently, and we might just stream direct, ultimately, come summer 2026, when we kind of wrap a tour, a premiere event tour, and we're able to just go ahead and share it directly, because that might be the best option at that point in time. We'll see. We just have to wait and wait and see what happens there.
Okay. So anything else about how people can support you in all of
Come to
this?
the event. Come to Vegas. Throw
Go to
your,
Vegas.
it's a Tuesday night, drive there if you're from out west, fly in from anywhere. Usually can get a flight to Vegas. It's Tuesday, December 9th. The red carpet starts at 7. The show starts around 8:45, or excuse me, 7:45, 8 o'clock. We have country music. Um, we have our MC is Mo Brings Plenty, who was made famous by Yellowstone, the series Yellowstone, but an amazing actor. And uh, if when he opens his mouth, tears come out of my eyes. So just he's just an absolutely inspirational speaker. And he's Native American, he's Lakota, and him and his wife will be there, and friends. And yeah, so it's going to be an incredible, inspiring evening.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Okay, good. Is there anything else that you want us to know or that you want to say in closing?
Hmm. Just, I really want to say thank you, Tiffany, for really supporting me in this creative emergent process.
Mm.
Um, you literally, I mean, I've known you for 8 or 9 years and your work, but to your listeners, I reached out to you, literally maybe 13 months ago, and I was in a really rough place after I had just finished the principal photography in Cheyenne. Um, and really since then, I feel like my connection with you and your work and being able to listen to your transmissions through very, accessible recordings, accessible offerings, um, some one-on-ones, some deeper dives with the Lumina Guild, which I was one of the first to join, your Lumina Guild. And it it is it is it's like a incredible fertilizer for things inside of me that um that are buried and and can get kind of you know faded from life, just kind of the everyday minutia of life. And so this your work has cultivated these deeper creative soul um, values and the character of who I really want to be in the world. And it's nourished that this last year. And
Mm,
that's allowed me to keep showing up in a really brave way and not run away and not drop things when they got really, really hard.
mm,
And I promise you I would never have gotten to this point without your work and what you're able to communicate to my soul, to these deep, deep parts of myself that are so alive and so available, but again, they can get lost, and I've that they've been lost, quite frankly. So I just so much gratitude for you. Thank you.
ooh. Thank you for receiving and reflecting. All right, you stay on. I'm going to take us off our live stream, okay? Okay, bye
Okay,
everyone. Thanks
fabulous.
for listening. Share and come to the premiere and we can see each other. That would be wonderful. Okay, let me hit